Hey, if your wife is watching, turn the video off. Come back later and watch it. That was dumb. That was dumb. Every tool's a hammer. Unless it's a screwdriver, then it's a chisel.
We need a torch. Hate that nut.
We're not doing that. Because it ain't built till it's overbuilt. Every day's a school day.
The following is a reenactment of actual events.
All right, I'm going to run the bulldozer.
Oh, wait, before you go,
What are you looking at?
Pinterest.
What's Pinterest doing?
Well, it's giving me great ideas
Oh, God.
for home improvement and stuff. No, really, you're gonna love this.
Well,
And it's gonna be wicked easy. Like,
Is
it's
it
not even that
bulldozer?
big a deal. No.
I wanted to do bulldozer things.
Well, you can do that after.
Ooh, can I blow stuff up?
After.
Not during.
No, not during. Not in the house.
What is it?
It's, just like this picture frame molding. Wouldn't that be pretty in the living room? And, it's just a little bit of trim. It shouldn't be hard at all.
It looks really hard.
But no, it would be really pretty in there on the walls. Picture you take all that stuff off the wall, your
My
deer
deer
heads and
heads.
stuff, take that off the walls.
I'm picturing it. I don't. Oh,
And so then we just got to patch up the holes in the walls
oh my God.
from all the pictures and stuff. And, what if we add a shelf on top of there?
I like our living room.
No, just add a little shelf.
But-
And then maybe some baseboard. That
It's already
baseboard's kind of
baseboard.
old. Yeah, but it's old and it would, it's gonna look junky after
Well-
we do all this beautiful picture frame molding
What if we don't? What?
on the wall.
Wait. What if we don't do that picture frame molding on?
Well, but it'd be pretty, and it could use a fresh coat of paint. So if we're gonna paint it anyways, then why not do that?
Well, but
And then just probably new front door, because that front door doesn't let much light in.
you know what? If it's
Right.
darker, you can't see that you don't have picture frame shelf molding things.
Well, what about this picture frame molding instead?
It's the exact same. It's the same.
Well, this one has the shelf on top.
Oh, so that's more work.
Well, but it gives you the idea
That one has a shelf in the middle.
of what I want. I don't think we need a shelf in the middle. It would just.
Oh no, I'm not saying we need one.
would
I'm just saying it's got
interfere.
one.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna paint it anyways, then that, and probably maybe
It is kind of cool.
maybe just some new curtains. I think we can keep our regular old furniture. We won't need new furniture.
Oh well, that's nice.
But the wires on the TV, if you could kind of hide them, they're so ugly hanging down
It's just
there.
wires.
I know, but then I gotta try to hide them with some fake plants and stuff. And
I gotta try to hide them inside the wall.
yeah, but then we just gotta do it once.
So I can't go do the bulldozer.
Well, we don't need to start right this minute. But
You're thinking like tomorrow though.
yeah, well, it would be nice. So.
It's not the best news. It's not what I want to do.
Well, I mean, really, what were you gonna do with the bulldozer?
But I move dirt around.
But this will be so nice. I didn't really want to paint all those bleachers either. 40 miles of bleachers in the hot sun.
Yeah, you kind of got me there.
So we'll start tomorrow?
I guess we're starting tomorrow.
Okay, it'll be pretty. You'll be glad we did it.
I don't know that I will.
I think you will.
Well, that's how it started, as they often do. Now the living room is stripped down to the bare essentials. And I've already started. Okay, so first step was, I left you out of a few things here because they're just too boring to watch. First step, we had to fix a lot of nail holes and screwed pops and stuff in the sheetrock. Got that all fixed. I fished some wires from here up to here so the cords are hid behind the TV, because I guess You know, Pinterest says that's important too. And then Amy painted everything. Put a new front door on. The old front door just had a little tiny window at the top, and it was really dark over in the corner. But now, it's, you know, bright. And I guess bright's good. Also, new storm door. Lots of light. Okay, so then I did new baseboards. We're kind of going for, I don't know what Pinterest calls it, but I call it fancy. So the baseboard is different than the old. It's taller and it's got an extra board. You know, adds a little class. And the shelves, of course you gotta have shelves. So the shelves are really just built out of 2 pieces of baseboard. This one's upside down, and then it's a wider one. And it's upside down the other way, see? And on top, you got little grooves. But my wife says, that's good. It'll keep crap from falling off. So I just go along with it. And then it's the smallest version of crown molding that they had at the local junk lumber store. So I mitered I just returned the ends and glued a piece on there. That, I don't know, it's good enough, I guess. Clip these off at an angle so you don't catch your eyeball on the corner so much. And that's that. It goes everywhere. Stopped it at the window, stopped it at those windows. And then over here, I ran a short one there, but no sense having it behind the TV too much. And then the piece over here, all the same. And then I'm debating whether I want a piece over here by the wood stove or not. We'll see, maybe. Maybe we'll do that. And then we set about figuring out all of these window trim things. So that's what I'm working on now. It's cutting a bunch of boards for them. All right, so next thing is mass production of these things that are like a picture frame, sort of, that we just nail onto the wall. So I gotta cut like 11 million of these, and then some shorter ones. I set a stop on my saw. Seems to be working okay. So I'm just gonna have at it. We're gonna cut a bunch of boards. What's the worst that could happen? I cut them all wrong. Okay, enough of that. It's pretty boring. It's just a lot of cutting. Keep cutting. There's a lot of different size frames we need to make. I've got all the numbers written down, and I'm just going through and cutting a bunch. But one thing I wanted to make sure is clear to you, when you got to cut a lot of stuff like this, figure out a way to set a stop. This stand I have has a little thing that slides up, but of course I couldn't get the shorter one, so I clamped down a board. And you got to do some jerry rigging, but it's worth it, because otherwise you're having to mark every one and cut to a line and all that stuff, and it's just, don't do that. But do check your lengths. Only cut 2-3 boards and check one, because your stop can move on you or loosen up and get crooked or something. And then you wasted even more time, because you got to go back and cut them over again. So worth the time to set a stop, no doubt about it. All right, so now I'm down to, I've got a ton of these, basically just picture frames to build. A ton. 2 tons. I made a little jig. You know what? Here, come look. So I made a jig here. I had a piece of plywood. I screwed down 2 boards that are near perfectly square to each other. What I'm going to do is just use it as a guide to hold these pieces while I glue the joint and throw a staple in there. I'll do 2 halves, and then I'll lay 1 half out here, and I'll put the 2 halves together, and we're done. I got so many to do, I think it's worth monkeying around a little to make a tool to make it easier. Here, I'll show you how it goes. Okay, so this is square, right? These are my pieces. I put a little glue on the end, very little. The less you smooth out, the less you got to clean up, you know? And then it's pretty easy, because you can line up the inside here. You know, the inside of that trim. If the inside lines up, The whole thing must line up. I'll just make 2 of them. You can push pretty good. I mean, that's kind of locked in there. I can push pretty hard. Okay, now that's 2 halves. Let me just take this one. That was too much glue. That's about 3 times what you need right there. Let me just throw it on here. Same thing, only different. You can push in pretty good. Push this way pretty good. And my miter joints are, you know, not perfect. Okay. There it is. I said it. This all got 1 coat of paint. But it's going to get another once it's up, you know, because there's all these little nail holes I'll go around and fill with a little putty. And like the miter, you can see, you know, you can see unpainted wood in the inside the miter joints because they never come together quite perfect. So a little bit of latex paint, all those issues go away. I did 1 section in case my wife looked at it and went, "Oh, I hate it." Then I could stop, but she didn't. She liked it. So now I got to do it all. But I'm just going to go and kind of in mass production here and get all these frames built. And then once that's done, I'll go inside and put them all up. That's it. I'm using a 1/2 inch long staple, and it's kind of ugly. So I say I got a little bit of that. I'll just use drywall filler. Put a little on those, cover them up. They don't have to be perfect, but they're kind of nasty. Is a 1/2 inch staple the right tool for the job? You know, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. That's the thing about this. But it seems to be working. It holds them together good while the glue's drying. That's really all they have to do. And they're pretty sturdy. They're not bad. You can work with them without worrying about them falling apart. So that's it. So now it's just repeat, repeat, repeat. Make a whole bunch of these things. So that's what we're talking about. That's the finished, that's my 1 sample panel I did, right? So up here you got your shelf, and then these are just those picture frames, and I did a little tiny bead of construction adhesive, stuck it on, and it stayed on there while I got the stapler and whacked some staples in. But now once these are all up, I'll go around and I'll just fill these, or my wife will, and then I'll be ready for touching up the paint. There's the look we're going for. Now I just got like 100 more to do. I mean, I guess for not having any idea what I'm doing and never doing it before, I think it looks okay. My wife just got done touching up the paint. She took the wood filler and filled in the little holes from the staples. It's not quite dry yet, but I think it looks pretty good. But I'll tell you, here's a few things I learned. First of all, don't agonize over like the size. What you have to do is you've got to split the room up into sections. You know, you got this section of wall here. You got this section of wall here. You got this section of wall here. So on and so forth, all the way around. And then you kind of pick So what I did was I started over here, not for any reason at all. And I said, well, would it look good with two panels? Two sets of panels, or three sets of panels, or four sets of panels? So I drew all over the wall with a pencil, and I thought three was what I wanted. And then I decided I'd go with 4-inch setbacks, 4 inches below the shelf trim, 4 inches from the window, 4 inches from the corner, 4 inches between them, and 4 inches above the baseboard. So now you use math magic, equationalizing. You just figure out what, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4 4-inch sections subtracted from that wall, what's it leave? Divided by 3, that's what it is. So they were about 13 inches. So then you move on to the next panel and you go, okay, I want to be around 13 inches. So, you kind of figure it, okay, would it be 4 panels? Would it be 5 panels? What would it come out to? If it was 4, what would it come out to if it was 5? And you just wing it, But it's important to remember that it's very forgiving. I found out it's super forgiving, because I was really worried it wasn't going to come out right, it would look bad or whatever. What's important is snap lines for the tops of each row, because that's what you see, right? When you look at it, those horizontal lines are what your eyeball's gonna pick up if they're not right. So you want them all nice and straight around the whole room. Whoops, not focusing on the thing. There you go. You want the tops of them nice and straight. So you snap some lines, you hold the thing up there. I used a little bit of construction adhesive. This is what I use, not because I know what I'm doing, but because it's what they had at my local hardware store. That stuff is slippery as goose poop on a wet board, I'm telling you. So when you put a little bit of it on there, those things want to whoop, 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 skate all around the wall. So you gotta be real careful. Make sure you hold them on that snap line while you get a staple in or two. That stuff, that adhesive, I'm sure, is going to assure that when my wife gets sick of looking at this and wants it torn down, it's going to destroy the drywall, and I am going to be sheetrocking this whole room. I tried to tell her that, but sometimes they don't listen so good, and it'll be an I told you so moment for me I can look forward to. So I did end up putting panels over here by the wood stove. I did 2, which brought them out to like 13.5 inches. And I also did a couple panels here. That little guy took me about an hour and a half to figure all that out, get it to come out right. It looks cool. It would have been kind of a blank spot if I didn't do it, so it's good. These guys over here, I remember, for example, I talk about how you don't have to really fret over the exactness of it. What I did was I set 4 inches on this edge, 4 inches from the door trim. I set the heights, like I said, the heights have to be right no matter what. Snap lines and make them right. But as far as side to side, like this one was gonna hit both, and I didn't want to have to cut it in half, basically. So I just scooched it over there 1/2 inch, and you don't see it, So those are off by 1/2 inch, and you'd never know it to look at it, because I had already set this one 4 inches in and this one 4 inches in. All I had left was that thing, because I don't plan ahead. I'm an idiot. If I'd planned ahead, I could have split all the differences or whatever. Maybe even moved it over so I didn't have to notch it at all. But I don't plan ahead. I plan behind. That's how I roll. So I just scooched it over, and you can't see. My point in all this, okay, is don't worry about the details. It's fine. It doesn't look that bad. You can be off a little. Like, I guarantee you, this one and this one are 4 inches, because I cut a block of wood, and I used the block of wood to set the spacings on the sides, because it was easy. And I guarantee you these other ones are not 4 inches, but it looks fine. You gotta make some decisions. Like, this one is kind of a big panel, but to do 2 panels, they would have been tiny. So you just gotta make a decision, go with it. It'll look fine. Overall, not a bad project. I gotta admit, it looks good. Our house has always been like, I don't know what you call it, hillbilly? No, that's not what my wife calls it. But like, see the old beams and stuff, that's always been our style. Rustic, that's what she'd call it, rustic. And then over the fireplace here. So this is a departure for us, but I think it looks cool. It's kind of classy. We're classing up the joint. All right, we're gonna call that a wrap on the project. Although I still got, what have I got? I gotta put outlet covers on. Oh, I gotta do stupid crown molding. I never did that before. On my channel, I like to not put a lot of swear words if I can help it. So we're gonna not do that. We're gonna not show that because I think that's gonna bring out swear words. So, but that's about it, really. Just outlet covers, crown molding, and we're done. Then I can go do something cool. Maybe we blow something up, or I don't know, do something maybe. So overall, I think this ain't a bad project. I mean, if your wife did see the video and now she's going, oh, look how nice that. Sorry, I told you. I warned you in the beginning don't show up with her in the room, okay? So you were warned. You didn't listen to me. But I think maybe you're starting to catch on. You really need to pay attention. Listen to me more often. I got really good advice. But if you do find yourself in a situation where now all of a sudden your wife's looking at the room going, oh, we could do that thing. I'm sorry, but I'll tell you that the project was not as bad as I thought it would be, but I thought it was going to be pretty bad, okay? So it's a lot of nitpicky chop saw work. So if that's not your thing, have one of your buddies over or something, because it's a lot of that. And the project was more expensive than I thought it was going to be. I bet you, I don't like to add up the receipts, but I'll bet you we're $1,200 worth of just buying molding to do the job. $1,000 anyways, just to buy the trim. And when you go look at it in a lumber yard, you're like, oh, 92 cents a foot, this is a pretty cheap project. Well, you're buying it by the truckloads, okay? And it ends up being, she really adds up. So if you have to do it, or you want to do it, and you got the time, maybe you ease into it, you save up for it, or you buy it a little now, a little bit later, or whatever. But you got to be careful, because if they change the profile of the trim halfway through you buying it, then you're in trouble, because it's not going to match. So probably wise to buy all of one thing at a time, so it lines up better, matches better. I don't know for sure if that's a thing, but it seems like it could be one of them dirty tricks they play on you at the lumber yard. They got their dirty tricks. So that's it for this. I'm going to call this one done. I'm not going to bore you. If you want to see an after video or something when it's all done and put back together, hopefully I can find room for my deer heads. That's a problem now. I don't never even foreseen that before, but here we are. Anyway, just put in the comments if you want to see more, if you have questions. I'm terrible about the how-to part of it. I show you the thing, but I don't really get into the details probably enough to be helpful. But I just did it. So if you got questions, fire them away. I'm happy to help. If you like this video, if you found this video helpful, whatever, make sure you go down and click subscribe. Like I've said before, my channel is it's all over the place. I do all sorts of different types of projects and different things. Just click subscribe, because even if you thought this was kind of meh, probably the next thing will be more cool. But here's the way it has to work. Click subscribe, click the bell, send me a comment, give me the thumbs up. All that stuff is how YouTube does the match. We'll see you for whatever the next thing's gonna be that we do. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.